So just a little lesson about the Shang Dantian, the upper Dantian. The bind in Sanskrit, the yin Dāng in Chinese. And so when we begin the form, and I would say this is what happens in any Tai Chi form, is that when I start, I'm just doing whatever I'm doing. I was tying my shoes, I was fixing my shirt, I was scratching my neck, I was waiting for you to get ready, and I was coming to my place. So I'm wherever I am, and I'm relatively scattered. I may not feel particularly scattered, but I'm not about to do this thing, right? So it's like and a 1, 2. When somebody gets to that point, you should be less scattered, more coalesced, more coherent, more intentional. And so whatever I was doing before I start the form, like, okay, that was a good run through, let me work on. And we could feel like at that moment, I've coalesced as best as I can. I'd like to do it better, but this is different than me the rest of the day. Right? And I might have come into it frustrated about when I messed up in the last run through the form. I might have done it very well and I'm excited, and I might be just collecting myself meditatively, getting a breath, steadying myself, calming myself, whatever it is. And so wherever my mind is, which could be anywhere in the universe, maybe many places in the universe, when I get ready to start my Tai Chi, wherever your starting position is, when I come into that, this is where I am. I'm in this yin Dāng point, right? That's yin Dāng, yin Dāng. I'm coalesced. Yeah, the diacritical yin Dāng. Usually we'll see it spelled Y-I-N-T-A-N-G, sometimes it's D-A-N-G, so now I'm coalesced here. This is where I'm present. This is where my world is, right? However successfully. Probably not enlightened, it's not perfect. So what of me has been called to action and presence has now arrived. I probably called all of me into presence and action, but not all of me showed up. I still have this jealousy, this anxiety, this worry, this pain, this distraction, but I did summon what I could of myself. And in that moment, we'll just say that I am present here. Okay. So my translation of the Yin Dāng is Hall of Impressions. Right? The Sanskrit bind is a seed. Right? The way I think of the Hall of Impressions is if you think of the king or the emperor or the ruler, right? They have their castle or palace or whatever. And in that, I'm just trying, you can move if you want, I just want to try and make sure I'm on the camera so they keep facing me. When I'm considering the castle, the palace and so forth, there's stables and then the refuse, the compost, like on the backside of the stables. There's the sick area where some sick people are. There's some fancy jewels in a safe somewhere or whatever. There's a dungeon, there's a barracks for people. It's where people live. So there's cleaner and neater and smaller and darker and lighter and prettier places. So that's fine. But there's going to be the hall where you receive visitors. The hall where you receive the world. Probably one visitor at a time. Maybe that's where your throne is, the fancy chair. And it's probably built extra fancy, extra big, special architecture, special materials. It's probably got very specific kind of height changes and narrowing and opening that work on the visitor in these subconscious and psychological ways. Right? Like you're seen from above and maybe at a distance, and their place is darker, and they're aware of how amazing the marble is and the gold. So this is important because if they come in the back door, they walk by where all the horse manure is, and the people with dysentery are and that's not your favorite impression, especially if you're going to assert your authority and have your negotiation or receive the prince from another kingdom or something. So you coordinate how you are seen. And come in a certain entrance via a certain horse or carriage, and with the trumpets and whatever the candle is. And part of what you're doing, this pomp and circumstance, is designed to get people in a certain state, right? And that should help you with your negotiations or demands or whatever. You want the world, when it comes in, to have an impression of you. And that's the receiving hall for the world. But also, it works the other way around. It's not just them getting an impression of you, which is fairly controlled if you're the emperor, but it's you getting an impression of them. So when they come in, this is also set up for you to see them and see how they walk and see do they sit or what their voice is or their demeanor and how they respond to the situation and all the rest. So their coming in is you kind of getting a look at them, an examination. Right. So the hall of impressions is where the world comes into me. Okay. Right. This is all of my senses invite the world in to varying degrees and in varying amounts and in varying frequencies. But it all comes in and it's all weighed or judged or considered or recognized here. Similarly, my intentions for the world all come here, and then they make their way out through my actions, through my words, through my energy, and so forth. Right? So the Hall of Impressions is this border town between the outside world and me. Right? And the emperor or queen tries to make that space itself have its own function and maybe shift the balance of power and influence and all the rest. But nevertheless, that's what happens. Same thing in your house. The right inside your front door, that's the first impression. The rest of your house might be neat and clean and you have a mess there, that's the impression, and vice versa, right? Yeah. So when we begin our form, I'm just gonna close this in case the next student walks right in while we're taking it. When we're doing our form, I am wherever I am, and now, however successfully, I'm calling the world to meet me here, and I'm setting my own intentions for the world here. And in this case, it's the world that I'm about to do my Tai Chi. And the first thing that we see in the form is yes. Right? And so what we're doing as we settle is we're moving from here, to the center of action, the Sha Dantian, the lower Dantian. Right? So we go from the upper Dantian to the lower Dantian, and we kind of see it in a lot of forms. We see a settle. We'll see that people, and then they start to form. Right? So we should feel like the center of our presence, our intention, literally move to the center of gravity, the center of action, the center of the body. Because now we're going to do things. Yeah? And we can also notice that invariably that path here moves through the middle Dantian. So we go from our thinking, our planning, our impressions, through the heart space to the lower center. And so this first settling in the form is coalescing and settling into action. And to me, what happens is this softens the intention. The more we think about an intention, the more we can think of sharpening a spear. Like it's more and more precise, more and more clear, more and more direct, but also maybe more and more damaging and scary. And And so, like, to me, this moving through the heart center on the way is the softening of that before it becomes action, or maybe we say balancing of that. So there's still a very clear intention, but it's softened by the feeling center, if we will. Right? So the hall of impressions through the middle, Dāng Tián, down to Sha Dāng Tián, the lower Dāng Tián, is this practice. So to me, that my translation, hall of impressions, really clicks when we think of this kind of two-way vestibule in which we invite the world to be seen and to be given a view of us. Right? So that's what I get across there.